So it was only like 3 days ago that we talked about the Super Sega last, which, if you're not caught up on this thing, the Super Sega is an all-in-one console that takes cartridges and discs of pretty much every Sega console that was ever released. SG-1000, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, and it's an FPGA-based system, not software emulation. This thing sounds crazy, right? We've been talking about it since it was first announced, and I received some information, a press release and all that stuff. And some of it kind of sounds a little unbelievable, but just 3 days ago, we got a video and some information that showed it in action. And I said, you know, seeing is believing, but all we've seen is captured footage so far. And in that video and the information that I got, it was mentioned that Dreamcast is a few weeks out. Like, they're still working on it. And I think that's the hardest thing to grasp right now is like, wait, they have an FPGA implementation of Sega Dreamcast? Is that they have an FPGA implementation of Sega Dreamcast? That sounds crazy. Like I said in my previous video, I have to see like footage off camera of this machine and them like camera, monitor, everything plugged in, no shenanigans. I have to see that to really believe, right? But we have some stuff. They've shown some footage of Dreamcast, and we're going to take a look at this. I have to hear from you guys. I'm a skeptic at heart with many things, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. I really need a lot to be all in on this thing. But let's just dive into this. So their website is back. In my previous video, I was like, hey, their website's gone, but it's back up. So we got that going. The website here, they have like the timeline here. It says actual status, the GUI. So we've seen the graphical user interface, kind of simple. The systems, if there's a cartridge in there, the SD card slot type thing, selecting, you know, ROMs, and then the controller ports up at the top, right? And that was pretty much it. Very simple, nothing amazing. And then the rest of this stuff, like July, the video that they've already shown, September produced prototypes, the boards, and in October the chassis. November published the bio of the members involved and make official videos, and then December released to public investors, whatever that means, right? But they just sent me, let me scroll back to the top because I was kind of reading through this a bit. They just sent me the biography. So I guess they're getting kind of ahead of themselves. Now, this is all in Spanish. Very limited, like I said in my previous video, very limited knowledge. I guess I could try to run this through a translator or whatever, but I've kind of scanned through it to get as much information out of it as I can. It just goes over each of the team members, kind of their history, their background, where they come from as far as programming, and they're like Alejandro Martin here, back in the 70s, 80s, what he was working on, stuff like that, right? But the interesting thing I find in this, which it's like not really part of the biography, but it's something I brought up in my videos, was the name Super Sega. And then with the website not being up previously, maybe they're just working on things. I don't know. But they bring it up a couple times in this document here, in this section here, which I'm sure you could already kind of get, even if you can't read this, I'm sure you could kind of gather where they're going with the Wayback Machine thing there. But let's scroll along. Like, they're just kind of going, history of each team member here, the things that they've worked on and stuff like that. Just kind of building confidence, I guess, with the things that they've done. But then they bring up the Super Sega here as well. The name, both times, about the name and websites that have used Super Sega and how they've been around for like 10, 20 years, and Sega never cared. That's essentially what this is saying. And then they give evidence, like, hey, there's a YouTube video that actually showed this in action at one point, like this website where you could upload stuff, and emulators and all sorts of stuff, and just kind of showing evidence, like, oh, there's all these different users registered, 50,000 users, this whole portal. It's kind of interesting, but to me, it's kind of weird. Like, that's not part of the biography, but they're just throwing it out there. Like, hey, Sega doesn't care. They didn't care. They never said anything for the past 20 some odd years. So why would they care now? But if they do care and they say something, okay, we'll burn that bridge when we cross it. That's the way it seems. But okay, enough of this. We're just going to watch this video. I got to hear from you guys. But let's pull this video up. Let's get into this video and check out what they got going on. The whole Super Sega. Okay, so I don't, let me see how they load this up. I'm gonna skim through it because like they play like Crazy Taxi. I can't play the audio for that, for the whole thing anyway. Okay, loading. Goes back up the Dreamcast. What does he load first? Back up. Okay, Crazy Taxi is the first one. Just loads the what was the CHD file? It loads pretty damn quick. I don't. I mean, like I said, this is captured footage.
Hey, come on over.
I would honestly imagine if this was an FPGA implementation of Dreamcast, the initial loading might be quite a bit longer. Have you, like, every current FPGA implementation out there for like games that are quite a bit bigger? I don't know. They take a bit longer than that to load for me. I'm not an expert. I'm just telling you, I'm not an expert in FPGA development, programming. My programming knowledge is very minimal. I'm not an expert at all. You know, I'm not going to sit here, talk out of my ass and say I know all sorts of stuff. I know how to play games via FPGA, but I don't know. It just kind of seems odd to me. Now, it could just be like, hey, cutting corners, you know, chopping the video together. It could be, or it could be it just loads that fast. I don't know. But things do seem a little, I don't know. What do you think? Like, I don't want to just be a jerk and say, hey, this is fake. But until I'm shown this machine, this board, and like no, like where there's no doubt of shenanigans at play, I'm gonna be skeptical. And I think a lot of you guys will as well. I mean, currently they're not asking for money, but if at some point you're gonna ask for investments some way or another, either crowdfunding for customers or just business partners. I don't know exactly how they're going to go about it. Initially, and I said this in my previous video, I sent them questions through email because they reached out to me first. I responded. I asked them a series of just several questions. Very simple. I didn't write like a whole big long story. I didn't write them a big long story. I just asked a few questions, and one of the questions was about crowdfunding and investment and how they were like planning to go about that. Sure, if they weren't ready to answer that, they could have just said, hey, at this time, we're not, you know, ready to discuss that. But when we are able to, we'll discuss that. But they've never replied to that email. Never. They send these little press release things, but they never responded to anything that I've asked. So I don't know. So they load up Gunbird. So that's the loading, and then it just like skips the initial Dreamcast BIOS screen. It says Super Sega Dreamcast gameplay and bio. Oh, I guess bio. I don't know why they put bio. Maybe the biography. I don't know. 'Cause this was like attached to the email, but I don't know. Maybe that's what it means. I thought maybe they meant the BIOS. I don't know, and even in that Crazy Taxi, like nothing seemed out of the norm. Like there might have been a little tearing here and there, but that could just be video. Even here, like I just seen in front like a little tear, but that could just be video. I don't know. Could be the video render. I don't know, but like it doesn't look sharp at all. The image looks very soft, in my opinion. It's a soft looking image. Does that mean anything? Not necessarily. Let me skip ahead. I think the other was what? Street Fighter 2X. Okay, that took a second to load, but not very long. I mean, it's just a very powerful Evo chip, whatever they called it. This is a Japanese game, wasn't released in the US. See a little shimmering here. Okay, this looks sharper than the Gunbird game. I haven't played Gunbird in a while, so I don't know. Maybe I was just tripping. I mean, this looks good. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are there shenanigans at play here? Are you like me where it's just like, hey, I don't know exactly what I'm looking at right now. I'm being told, I'm being shown FPGA Dreamcast in action, but does that mean anything necessarily? I mean, I got to see that off-camera footage, not just captured, you know, captured gameplay. I mean, they showed it being loaded through their user interface, but I just need more. I need to see the actual device. They have some months ahead. They have their whole roadmap. So we'll have to wait and see. You know, I wish them luck. I'm going to be a skeptic until there's something more solid in front of me, right? I think that's fair. Good luck to these guys, but that's what I need to see. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Bye.